Hey guys, welcome back to Lauren Levels Up. If you are new here, then welcome and thank you for joining me. Today I have for you a hacks video. Now, I should probably start by saying that while some of these things are things that I just started doing by myself, some of them are bits and pieces that I learned from other people. So there might be some of this stuff that you've seen before, maybe I'm not reinventing the wheel, but what I will say is that when it came to my beauty routine and saving myself time, money, and sometimes stress too, that these things really work for me. So I'm just passing them on today in the hope that they help one of you guys too. So I'm going to start off with something about skincare, move on to makeup, a couple about hair, and then I have one at the end that I wasn't really sure how to categorize. I guess you could call it bath care. I feel like that sounds a bit weird, but that's the best thing that I can come up with. And there are 8 things in total for you today. So starting off with skincare, this is something that I found very early on in my teens. And I've never had terrible skin, but obviously I did suffer from blemishes from time to time, and I still do, even in my 30s. And one of my absolute saviors when it came to spots was this stuff. And this is Sudocrem. Now, I don't know if you can get hold of this in the US, but I know that it's pretty readily available in Europe and in the UK. This stuff, if you put that on before you go to bed at night and you can feel you've got a spot coming, or maybe it's already there, you put that on over the top and just smooth it on and leave it in place overnight, and you will wake up in the morning and either that spot will have gone completely or it will be drastically reduced. And the reason that I like this stuff so much is that it doesn't do that horrible drying out thing that a lot of spot kind of treatments do. So what you don't end up with is that horrible crusty residue that you can't then apply makeup over the top of the next day. The only downside to this is that I believe it's made by GlaxoSmithKline. I'm not sure, I'll check who manufactures it, but the chances of this being cruelty-free are slim to none, basically. So if anybody knows of a cruelty-free alternative that works just as well as I've described this stuff to, then please let me know in the comments, because I would love to know. I've heard really good things, for example, about the Kate Somerville like spot-on pipette spot treatment, but that is pretty expensive stuff. So an idea of something more affordable that's cruelty-free too would be incredible. So moving on to makeup now, and the next one is something for anybody with a combination to oily skin, or anyone who gets kind of oily patches, and imagine you're out on the go somewhere and you're starting to get really, really shiny. Maybe it's really hot outside or whatever, and you don't have any powder with you, you don't have any blotting papers. Well, so the humble toilet tissue works just as well as any blotting paper I have ever tried. So this is just your average household toilet tissue. I'm just going to separate the 2-ply sheets like this. And then all you need to do, in the same way as a blotting paper, press it to the areas and then just hold for a second, peel away, and that oil will disappear. So just toilet tissue, that's all you need to blot. The next makeup related trick that I have for you is, and those of you who have seen my videos since the very beginning, for example, my everyday makeup video shows this little hack. This is the easiest ever eyeshadow hack for when you just have no time but you need some colour on your eyelids. And the key to that is, first of all, a small fluffy angled brush like this one. And the reason that we need it this size is we need it to basically fit into the shape of the eye socket. And what I normally do is I'll use my bronzer, I'll just dip that brush in there, tap off the excess, and then just nestle that brush into the eye socket, and just little swiping motions. That's what I have on my eyes today. I don't know if you can see that very well, but yeah, easiest eyeshadow look ever. Just do that a few times. Little tiny circular motions, blending it out towards the crease in this kind of upwards motion, and you will end up with an eyeshadow look that looks like you spend a lot of time on it when actually you used one brush and you spent like 2 minutes or less. Next for makeup, I have my beauty blender and my loose powder, and I always set my highlighted areas where I've used bright concealer with my damp beauty blender. And what I will do is go ahead and tip some of my loose powder into the lid, dip in my beauty blender, wipe off the excess, and then go ahead and spend some time pushing that powder into those areas, and it will create the most flawless finish to your highlighted concealed areas. It will smooth out the texture, any pores that are in that area, and obviously set the concealer at the same time. So next time you apply your concealer, rather than using a brush, press it in there with the pointy end of your beauty blender and you will see the most gorgeous finish. The last of the makeup things that I have for you is just a little trick to do with your blush. When you have finished your makeup entirely, just take a little fluffy crease brush that you would just use to do the crease of your eye, and whatever blush you have used that day, dip into a little bit of the blush and just run it through the crease colour. And what you will find is that the matching of the tones in those two areas will just bring your entire makeup look together and just make everything look really, really cohesive in a way that you can't necessarily pinpoint, because that tiny bit of blush in the crease will blend seamlessly into your skin colour because it's such a natural tone that already appears in the makeup. So just a little tip there, run your blush through your crease colour of your eyeshadow when you're completely finished, and just let me know what you think of the results. Next is hair. Now again, this is a product that's not cruelty free. I feel like there are definitely cruelty free versions of dry shampoo available out there. I have heard that the Australian brand Kevin Murphy does a dry shampoo. However, I'm not sure how readily available that is here in Spain or elsewhere for that matter. And also, with it being a professional hair care brand, I'm not too sure whether the price point would be quite as affordable as a brand like Batiste. But basically, my hack for dry shampoo is not to apply it when you actually want to use it. Apply it the night before. So when I, for example, have washed my hair that day or maybe even the previous day, and I know that I'm not going to be able to wash it again the next day, and I'm definitely going to need something just to help with any oil or residue in the roots of the hair, before I go to bed, I will spray in my dry shampoo. I will then put my hair up in a really fetching ponytail on the top of my head so that all of my hair is gathered towards the crown. And then I will just sleep like that. And when I wake up in the morning, the product will have worked into any of the oils in the roots of the hair, will have soaked any of that up, and you will be left with hair that feels clean and with gorgeous volume. And for somebody like me who has quite a fine hair texture, but where there's a lot of it, so it creates a lot of flatness if I'm not careful, that is a godsend. So give that a try next time you think you might need to use dry shampoo the next day. Put it in before you go to bed. The next thing I have for you is also hair, and this is probably the one that I feel like people may well have heard of, but for some reason I was kind of late to the party, I guess, and didn't know about the sock bun until maybe about a year ago. So basically the idea is that if you want to put your hair up in a bun but you need some extra volume and you don't have a bun ring that you can use to put your hair up and pin around, then the humble sock is your friend. So this right here is a sock in the same colour roughly as my hair, and this is the top, and then as you can see the toe has been cut off. All I'm going to do with that is just roll it inside out, and then we have a homemade bun ring. Easy. So just a case of putting your hair in a ponytail through that and then maybe backcombing it a little bit and pinning it around. Sorted. So the final thing that I have for you today is a body care related thing. And this is something I have done for years and years. And And it's purely because I just do not buy into the idea of shaving foam. I just think it is the biggest waste of money ever. So instead, I have always used coconut oil. Now, this not only gives the nicest texture for the razor to glide over when you're shaving, but it also leaves your skin really, really smooth and soft when you're finished. And on top of that, it will help you avoid any ingrown hairs. When people always tell you that you should definitely exfoliate whenever you've shaved, just to avoid any ingrown hairs or any shaving rash in that area. That's true, but on top of that, you need to make sure you moisturize as well. Because, okay, fine, you may have removed that top layer of skin, but also what it needs is some extra moisture. The skin needs to be supple enough for the hair as a blunt edge to then push through. So yeah, use of this stuff when you shave is an absolute godsend if you suffer with shaving rash or ingrown hairs. So those are my beauty, makeup, hair care hacks. I really hope that at least one of them was helpful to you today. And if you guys have any of your own, then please leave me a comment in the comment boxes below so that I can have a look at those too and we can all share them. Don't forget that if you liked today's video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me in the near future. I upload every Wednesday, so I hope to see you back next Wednesday in my next video. Bye guys!